10 years of brutal, no BS financial advice and lessons from a 28-year-old who has just gone through it. In today's video, I'm going to share all my learning experiences from over the last 10 years of my investing and personal finance journey. And why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Katie if you're new here. I'm pretty much a normal dude, a mechanical engineer, but I've been talking about investing in personal finance for probably about 6 years now on the internet. So I have an account that I've grown to about 50,000 followers on Twitter or X, and I also have a financial kind of newsletter that I write that has about 5,000 readers. And over the last 10 years or so, I've grown my own investment portfolio to multiple six figures, and that's not to brag at all. It's just to say that I've lived some of these experiences, I've learned some of these things the hard way, and so I'm pretty much going to make the video today that I wish I would have had when I was, a 20-year-old just starting out. So hopefully you can learn something from these lessons. Some of these are hot takes, some of these you're probably not going to hear anywhere else because they're specifically my own opinions, but let's go ahead and get into the video. Hopefully you can find some of them helpful. The first thing I would say would be to avoid going into student debt for a college degree that is not going to pay you a lot of money. The cost of college has skyrocketed over the last 10, 20 years, and inflation and salaries have really not kept up with that cost increase. And so now it's easier than ever to go six figures in debt for a job that you're going to come out making 40 grand a year, and I really just don't think that's worth it. I was lucky enough to graduate college debt-free. We raised animals growing up in the fair. I applied for a ton of scholarships through before school and through school, and then also had a few internships that paid well that helped me kind of pay my way through school, and also had some help from my parents who had done some college planning in advance before when we were younger, so that also helped out a little bit. So lucky I was able to graduate debt-free. That said, I've seen tons of people who have gone to college and got way over their heads in debt for degrees that they're really going to struggle to pay off those loans, down the line. And so my 2 cents here is to use community colleges, use online colleges if you can. Knock out a lot of those basics if you want to go to a big name school. Knock those out first because it's going to be cheaper. And then you can go to a big name school if you want to. Or you might not even need to go to a big name school at all if the degree or the education that you want is offered at one of these cheaper places. The second piece of advice I would give would be to choose your spouse wisely. This is one of the most important pieces of, I guess you could say, advice on this list, because whoever you marry is going to have a massive impact on your financial situation long term. If you aren't married yet, make sure that you have some of these hard conversations, not early on, but before get to that engagement and that marriage phase, right? Talk about how you want to handle your money long term. Talk about the lifestyle that you want to live. Make sure that some of those financial goals, they don't have to be perfectly aligned, but make sure that each of you has an understanding of what you want and what you're going to expect. We don't have a prenup, and I don't really judge. Everyone's situation is different, but if that is something that you will see or something that you will want in your marriage, that is another topic to make sure that you discuss ahead of time. Finances are a huge part of a long-term relationship. And so choose your spouse wisely. Make sure that you have those hard conversations first and you guys are on the same page before moving on with the rest of your life. Next is one of the biggest purchases that a lot of young people make, and that is just to not buy a new vehicle right away in your early 20s. When you buy a new vehicle, the second you drive it off the lot, it loses thousands of dollars in value. And so I think it's a great thing, especially in your 20s, to just buy used vehicles. You can still buy reliable vehicles that are used. Just because a vehicle has 50 or 80,000 miles on it doesn't mean that it's a terrible deal. And so don't discount used vehicles. Try to avoid buying new. And the reason I say try to avoid buying new is because you buy new, you're likely going to have a much larger car payment as well. And car payments are a huge wealth killer. I have a different video on the channel talking about how much car can you afford, so check that out if you want to. But basically, a large car payment is going to take away from money that you're able to invest. And early on, when you're in your early 20s, throughout your 20s, your dollars have so much value. I think the multiplier is from 23x all the way up to like 85x on every dollar that you invest. And so you can see, even a couple $100s that you are saving a month and investing instead will turn into thousands of dollars long term. And so your money just has so much potential early on, and try not to get too much of it tied up in a car payment if you can. If you're new here, my name is Kate and I share all my learnings, mistakes, big wins, big losses from growing a multi-six-figure portfolio in my 20s. So if you're into that, hit the subscribe button down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get back into the video. Similar to a car, your net biggest expense in your 20s is likely going to be your housing payment. So whether that's rent or whether you are going to buy a house and have a mortgage, this is another place that a lot of people get over their heads in early on, and it really ties up all of their disposable income. There's a couple different rules on this. I have another video on the channel if you want to check that out. The 28% rule is a common one, so you want your mortgage, interest, and taxes to be below 28% of your income. Another rule is the 30-33 rule. This means you can spend 30% of your monthly income on a house, 30% of your yearly income for a down payment, and then your housing range that you'll be looking in is 3x of your annual income. So if you're making $70,000 a year, 3x on that means that you'll be looking for a house around $210,000. Another thing you can do with your housing costs, and this is something that we have done, is actually split your housing costs with someone else or have a roommate. We did this for a couple years, and we honestly saved around $700 to $1,000 a month once you add in utilities and that kind of thing. So we were able to save a lot of money doing this. And so if this is something you can do, whether it's an apartment or renting out an extra bedroom in your house or something like that, especially early on in your 20s, do it. It's a great way to save some money. The next thing I would say to someone in their 20s who's on this financial journey is to remember to have some fun with your money. There's some gurus out here on YouTube and online, they're going to tell you that, hey, you need to lock in and put your head down, and you just need to work and get your money right, not do anything else. And honestly, I completely disagree with that. There are some things in your 20s that you just can't do at other times in your life. And I'm not saying go and spend tens of thousands of dollars on extravagant vacations all the time, or make these big extravagant purchases that you think you need. What I'm really just saying is to make sure that you take the time and do spend some of that money responsibly on experiences, meeting new people, making new friends, building your network, because there's a lot of things in your 20s that you're going to do, and you're going to meet people, make friends, and honestly, who you hang out with and who you know is your network is your net worth. Everyone's heard that, but your 20s is a great time to do that. Have some of those experiences, spend some of that money responsibly, because it's honestly going to impact your financial situation 10, 20 years, 30 years down the road more than you likely think. Following that, I would say to start investing as early as possible. Even if it's just a small amount of money, go ahead and start. Like I talked about earlier, your money has such a high potential early on, especially when you're 18, 20 years old. I mean, those dollars are worth, almost 80x in retirement. So every dollar you invest is going to be $80 in retirement, right? So you can do the math on even just a little bit invested can have a huge impact long term. And that number drops, right? When you're 20-something years old, I think that number is around 85x on every dollar. But by the time you get to 30, that number drops to like 23x. So you can see there, just in the 10 years from 20 to 30, how much potential your dollar technically loses. So that's why it's just so important even early on to invest a little bit if you can. Another thing about investing early on is that all your mistakes are going to be cheaper. When I first started around the age of 18 investing, man, I tried day trading options, I tried penny stocks, I tried all the new hot, trades that were happening. I did a lot of that. I had lost a lot of money doing some of that stuff, but I learned a lot of those lessons the hard way. And at the time, they probably only cost me $1,000. But if I have $500,000 invested in the future and then I go and try some of that, it's probably going to lose me a lot more money. And so that's another great thing about starting early on in your 20s, is that your mistakes are probably going to be cheaper than they would be if you waited to when you technically had more money to invest. Something else I would tell myself is to focus on growth investments, and everyone's situation is different, so go and run the numbers for yourself. I did a full video on it on the channel, dividend versus growth investing, and growth investing has historically outperformed long term. So early on, when your dollars have so much potential, I would probably tell myself, hey, focus on growth side of things. You don't really need any dividend income right now. The $25 in dividends that you're going to make is cool, but it's not going to change your life, and that money's better off in a higher growth asset or ETF or whatever it might be. So that's just another kind of sprinkle of advice that I would probably tell myself on the investing side of things. The next thing I would say, and another one that you don't really see on here too much, and sometimes it's a hot take, is that you need to increase your income. There is a huge difference in making $90,000 a year and $40,000 a year. That difference in disposable income is not really going to be able to be made up with saving alone. And so if you can invest in education, invest in your skills, if you need to move around, take new job opportunities, hop around a little bit, whatever it might be, increasing your income in your 20s will have such a major impact on your financial future. That said, make sure that your lifestyle doesn't inflate too much if you do start increasing your income, because then it's not going to matter how much you increase your income. It's going to be the same as it was before if you just spend as you make. So keep that in mind. Increasing your income is important, but also maintaining your lifestyle is also important, just so you can stack those extra dollars. Coming up after that one, and this one is kind of obvious, but man, it is to avoid credit card debt. We talked about avoiding student loan debt, but credit card debt is another horrible one. The average rate on credit card interest is like over 20-some%, and that is some compounding that you just do not want to have working against you. If you want to use credit cards to earn airline miles or get some cash back, that's okay, but make sure that you pay it down monthly. No exceptions whatsoever. And so make sure that you take care of that. If you do want to use your credit card, pay it off. If you have any credit card debt, you have to get that paid off. Do not let that compounding interest work against you, because as you get older, it's only going to become more and more of a burden. So getting that knocked off early in your 20s will be huge for your financial picture long term. And lastly, and this is still one that I have to remind myself of today, but that is, don't be afraid to take calculated risks. In your 20s, this sounds weird, but you kind of have an excuse just to do things. You're still figuring out life. And so whether it's taking a new job, moving to a new area, maybe putting some money into a side business that you've always wanted to start, just calculate the risk on it. What's the worst thing that can happen? And if it's not that bad, go ahead and just give it a shot, man. You don't want to be 60 years old looking back and going, man, I wish I would have tried something then. Your 20s are the best time to try it. You pretty much have that get out of jail free card as long as it's something legal. But don't be afraid to get a little bit uncomfortable, because the payoff might be great. And if it doesn't work out, then hey, you still have the entire rest of your life to figure it out. So that's the 10 years of no BS advice I would give myself if I could go back in time. If there's something you think I missed, drop it down in the comments below, your biggest lessons, so you can help someone else out who's watching this video. If you want to check out some other videos on the channel, I'll leave my latest upload right here, or my personal finance playlist right here, where I cover some of my other favorite apps, lessons learned, that kind of thing. Thank you for watching though. I'll see you in the next one.